So, Elliot, for a start, I'm just so excited. I mean, I feel bad because I've already referred you only to friends and family as our Shanghai correspondent. Just because I've never been able to say that before. But it's so exciting. So just tell me, at the moment, you are in Shanghai in China.
Yes, that's correct. I've been here for 12 years now. Actually did 4 years in Beijing at the beginning. And I've done 8 years here now. So wow. I never thought I'd be here this long. I came here for 3 months and then I'm still here.
Wow. And then, so tell me, just for our viewers and listeners, I mean, what got you out there in the first place? So, because you didn't study electric vehicles.
Definitely not. It was back in 2008. I graduated from university. I did a degree in architecture, interestingly enough. 2008 was a terrible time to graduate as a junior architect in London. So I thought, I'll go to where there's a big building boom. So I'll go to China for 3 months, get some experience, come back, finish my degree. And I'm still here, 12 years later.
Right.
I've kind of changed from architecture now. I'm not really doing architecture at all. I'm working in marketing for a large education company. And then on the side, I've started developing a very big interest in electric cars and what's going on in China, because everything's just happening so fast. It's really hard to keep up.
Yeah. So now, because I first came across you when you made a video about your own car, and it was so weird. It shows that this stuff is really coming together, because it was your car is the Xpeng.
The Xpeng G3.
G3. I was going to say B3. G3. Right.
G3. Yeah.
Okay, but before we go on to the ones you filmed for us, just quickly tell me, because you've done a long journey last weekend, was that right, to your parents-in-law?
Yeah, that's right. I did my first long-distance journey in the Xpeng, the G3. So it was about 450 kilometres. The car is rated at 520 kilometres, but that's NEDC range, so not 100% accurate. But anyway, I kind of winged it. I didn't really plan the journey because I knew that there'd be a lot of charging facilities on the way. And so I just drove along until I got to about 100 range left, pulled over, fast charged in about 30 minutes to get another 300 kilometers of range, and then made it. So just stopped once for half an hour. It was incredible and just so easy.
Wow. There's going to be so many people, particularly in the United Kingdom, who drive electric cars who are going to be gnashing their teeth. Because then, when you the actual process, you drive up to a charger. So this was like the equivalent of a motorway services. Is that the sort of area that it was in?
Exactly that, yeah.
Right, and then so you go up to the charger and you plug it in, and then what do you do, or do you have to do anything?
Yeah, you do. So there is an app that you have to download, but because we do all payments on our phones now, it's all very seamless. So you don't have to worry about getting a credit card out or anything like that. So you just scan the QR code, because QR codes are quite big here, download the app, or go into the program very quickly, and within a minute you're charging. Right.
And that wasn't complicated. But then, so what about the cost of that then? So what do they do? What's the kind of kilowatt hour charge? Do they tell you? Or?
Yeah, that was 1.6 RMB per kilowatt hour. So I think that's around 20p.
Right. So it's cheaper that's less than we would pay here for a kilowatt hour, probably from a rapid charger. And that was 50 kilowatt. That was a 50 kilowatt charger.
Yes. Yeah. So it was very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a couple of Teslas waiting there when we got there, but they all pulled away because it wasn't working for them very well. But it only seemed to work with the Chinese-made cars, which was quite interesting.
Right. Well, Teslas have got their own. They've got their superchargers. They did, yeah. So I don't know what is the connector in China. Is it the same as here? We've got CCS or Chademo.
No.
Is it not? It's neither.
No, they've got nothing related to the ones in Europe or the US. We've got something called GB/T. I mean, it's consistent within China, but no one else uses it outside of China.
Right. No.
So, yeah, that's the only issue at the moment.
Right. But then, so let's go quickly, because the footage you've sent me that we'll release these episodes soon. But certainly the test drive of the P7, in the car park. There was that amazing drone footage where, I see a car park I recognise. That's a car park with people doing test drives with tyres. It's all very familiar. Then as you pan up, the two things that hit you, oh my God, that's a very big city in the distance. And oh my God, look at the smog. Those two things were like really intense that day.
That was a horrific day. That was not a good day at all. It was getting quite muggy, so it kind of traps the pollution quite a lot, unfortunately. And Shanghai is a very big city. It's 24 million people, which is almost half the UK population in one city. Yes. And considering that, the traffic isn't actually that bad here. So, it flows quite easily. It's not bad actually.
But then, because I'm so intrigued about the kind of the perceived percentage of electric vehicles that you would see on the streets of Shanghai. I mean, is it like, do you walk along and go, oh, there's one because they're so rare, or you don't notice it because there's so many?
It's almost the latter. So here we have a green number plate to designate the electric cars or the hybrid cars. Now this is because normal regular cars have to go into a license plate lottery or auction, which costs about £10,000 for a plate to drive in the city of Shanghai. Before you've even bought your car, it's ridiculous. Whereas the green plate is completely free. So that's to get people to buy the cars. And so, if I go outside now, I would easily see 10 within 1 minute, pure electric cars. So there's a lot, and it's growing all the time. So I think the main manufacturers here, like NIO, BYD and Xpeng, I think they're selling in Shanghai or in China, I think around 1,000 a month. So not huge numbers at the moment, but that's steadily increasing month on month. And if you consider how many electric car manufacturers there are here, that's exponentially larger and larger. So, I have seen a massive increase over the past couple of years as well. As the cars get better, they get more desirable, people want to buy them, people want to drive them. It's just becoming a lot more normal now.
Yeah. And then what about, things like bikes and buses and, other like delivery vehicles? I mean, is that starting to happen there, the transformation of that stuff?
Yeah, that's happened very quietly. So the trucks and things, you see them all the time, but I suppose you don't really notice them. They've all got the green number plates as well, but companies like IKEA only use electric truck fleet. So I think they're like 7.5 ton type vehicles.
Right.
And they're all electric. They have these little, we call them bread vans. I'm not sure what we call them in the UK, but a lot of those are electric now. And I think the biggest thing is the electric scooters. So you imagine, a city like Shanghai, if everyone was driving a gasoline scooter, making a load of racket, buzzing around the city, all this horrible smoke coming out. There's zero gas scooters like that. It's all electric. And that's, I suppose that's how I got my first introduction to driving electric. So I bought a new, which is a small electric moped, and I commuted to work on that for a couple of years. And it's amazing. I can carry the battery into the office, charge it in a few hours, and it takes me about 25 kilometers.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Right. And the cost of, per mile cost of driving that, or per kilometer cost, has got to be almost incalculably small. I mean,
yes, it's almost nothing, I think.
Yeah. Well, that is, and so there's a lot, because that was in fact, my brother-in-law who now lives in Hong Kong had lived in Shanghai, and he sent me a video, and that was maybe 2 years ago, of a very busy street in Shanghai. And the noise was totally different. And that's what he noticed, because he'd been there like 10 years before, and he just remembered being deafened by 70,000 two-stroke scooters and the smoke and everything. And this was like, it was like a swarm of bees. All these thousands and thousands of electric scooters. And then he showed a shot of a lamppost or a post, some sort of street furniture with so much wire hanging out of it. And it was all plugged into hundreds of scooters. So it was looked a bit chaotic. I mean, is that still the case, or is there a bit more organised stuff?
No, it's much more tighter now and regulated. So there's designating parking areas, and I think every single compound has a parking area with free charging for bikes,
Wow.
So if you live in a big apartment building like me, we've got a huge car park underground, all got chargers for electric bikes. So yeah, it's so easy. And I think, my electric bike was, I think, about £500. And it's got, GPS tracking, it goes 40 kilometers an hour. I can remove the battery, it's lithium ion. It's just incredible. And I think when I first got to Shanghai, I suppose I didn't realise that there are all these electric bikes, and so you've got to be careful when you cross the road because you don't hear them. They travel en masse down the road.
Yes, yeah.
Silently. There's just no noise.
Yeah.
So you do have to watch out when you cross the road.
No, I mean, I think that it's something we've discussed a lot on the show, is that, people go, oh, electric cars, they don't anymore, but they say they're silent, I'll just get run over. You go, well, it's got to have a psychopathic driver who wants to kill you. That is part of it. But also electric cars aren't silent, but, electric bikes. One of the blind people, we interviewed this great blind guy, Andre Louis, who is, blind since birth, and his fear is always bicycles. He lives in London. Because you can't hear bike. No one ever says, and I have all my pedestrian accidents between either a vehicle or a pedestrian or the other way around have been on bicycles, not in cars. I've been knocked off my bike by pedestrians who are just running across the road and don't look, and they run into the side of me when I was on a bike, and I went flying. So that was many years ago. But those changes are remarkable, and I mean, some of the things. There's just a report out now. In fact, I'll send you the link because I want you to go. I want you to have a go. But but NIO have just announced they've done 500,000 battery swaps on their battery swapping routes in China, which is, when you think of all the people here, like in the Israeli company Better Place, and there was huge amount of publicity around that, and they probably changed 150 batteries in their entire existence, then went bankrupt. And someone like NIO, in a way, I always think of NIO as the sort of Chinese Tesla. They're the ones who've just gone, we can make it. We'll make these really cool cars. People will buy them, and here's the infrastructure. They kind of did that. Jump.
That's the thing. They have made it really easy. So I think there's something like 41,000 chargers in Shanghai alone.
Right.
That's on top of the battery swapping stations as well. And when I bought my car, I didn't really consider where to charge it because I knew there were so many chargers around. I just went ahead and bought it and thought, I'll sort out the charging issue later. So I don't have my own charger. And I don't have one at work.
I see. You can't charge in your car park in your apartment block. There's no way you can charge it there.
No, there isn't. Not inside my apartment block. There's some nearby, but none here. So I didn't even consider it. I thought, it's going to be easy enough. And lo and behold, it is ridiculously easy to charge. I've got a fast charger within a kilometre. I've got multiple, slower chargers, within 500 metres. And it's just never been an issue. And I think maybe I was a bit naive and just went straight into it head first. But, you really don't have to worry about it here.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is, I just think that transition has been faster there. I mean, and also, I think you said this, and certainly other Chinese people have said this, is it's fairly city specific. I mean, there could be kind of quite remote rural areas in northern China where finding a charger might be, slightly harder.
I do think we do live in a bit of a bubble here in Shanghai, and so it's not all over China, but I think overall in China there's about 3.2 million charging points, which is about twice the US. But it's not 100% coverage yet.
But it's clearly, yeah. And also, I mean, would you say there still is a government support for electric vehicles? I mean, they are still pushing it. They're not kind of
hugely. So they've extended the subsidies. Every manufacturer gets, I think it's around £7,000 per car in terms of a subsidy.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Wow,
that is a lot. And they were going to stop that in December of last year, but then with the virus, they've extended it.
Right.
And with incentives like the free number plate, they really are pushing this very heavily. And I think now, you can't open a new car factory unless you produce electric cars. So no more gasoline car factories are going to be built in China.
Wow. And I mean, it's sort of that kind of ruling would be slightly idiotic in this country or in Europe, because we're not opening new car factories. But in China, they definitely are. So that is a fact. I've never heard that before. You can open a car factory, but it has to make electric cars as part of the range. I guess that's extraordinary, isn't it? Because, yeah, I wouldn't think there's anywhere else on the planet at the moment where people are busy opening new. I mean, the only place where there are new car factories at the moment are for electric cars anyway. No one's buying it. There's no one building a new diesel manufacturing plant now, I don't think.
No, and, it's the speed at which they're doing it, so they built the Tesla plant in less than a year, which is ridiculous.
And it's not a small shed, it's quite a big building.
Okay, and I think they're already expanding it.
Wow.
And yeah, so, you see a lot of new cars coming onto the market here. There's a couple of brands. There's one called Innovate, which are starting up very soon. There's Byton as well, who have a factory in Nanjing. And these are all, started up in the last few years. It's just the speed of the growth and the development, and even the battery technology as well. So even just 2 years ago, we were looking at cars with 400 kilometer range, and now we're already at 600-700 kilometers of range within a couple of years. So it really is.
And it's also the actual quality of the actual build quality of the cars as well. That's what I think is transformative. I mean, I saw some early BYD cars probably 8 to 10 years ago at Geneva Motor Show, and they were. I'm trying to be very polite about Chinese manufacturing because, my God, it's changed. But those were a little bit shonky. I'll say that. They were a little bit. They looked a bit frail.
They were. They grew up very quickly from that, and they've done what the Korean manufacturers did. I suppose coming to the UK, they did it in 20 years. But what China's doing is in 8 to 10 years, and now BYD produces some very, very attractive cars. Great features, very safe, and I think this year is the year they're going to start exporting to Europe. A lot of these manufacturers, so they're ready to take that next step. And hopefully they're successful.
Well, because even when I did the interview with Dr. Gu from Xpeng, he said we have no plans to sell cars in Europe, and it was like 20 minutes later, I heard from Bjorn Nyland in Norway that he's getting an Xpeng P7 because they're bringing them into Norway. So that was bad timing on my part to ask that question. So yeah, they clearly are. They're going to bring those here, I think, and there's a lot of interest in them. I mean, it's going to be fascinating. So I mean, I think we should explain to the fully charged viewers that you shot us. Well, I guess it's two. The P7 because the bit I haven't even seen is the P7. The second bit of P7 you've shot. So that was like a public road test in it.
That's right. Yeah, got the opportunity to jump in the new P7. I got a few hours with the car. Yeah, and it's just incredible.
Really it's nice, right?
And it looks good.
And the other one you drove, I can never remember the name. The little one. I love that.
It's interesting, right? So I think it looks quite similar to a Honda E in some respects.
Yes, it does. No, it does. I'm sorry. What's that one called?
It's called the Aura R1.
Aura, that's it.
And that's by a company called Great Wall Motors. I think they've imported trucks into the UK, which weren't particularly
Yes,
good.
I've heard of that. Yes, that's right. Yep.
And so it's it might not be to everyone's taste with the looks. I thought it was quite cute, but it's what it represents. It's the cheapest or the most affordable electric car on the market, I think, in the world today. So after subsidies, that comes out at around £7,000.
Wow. That's extraordinary, isn't it?
It is incredible. So if we can start producing cars at that sort of price, and that completely opens up the market.
Yes,
so it's very exciting.
No, that is really good. I'm speaking for the fully charged viewers around the world that they are all very excited to see that. But I'm so thrilled that we've managed to work this out, Elliot. It's really exciting. To have a Shanghai correspondent is it's beyond my wildest dreams. And I mean, I really want to record some more of these. We should do. I think we should just do China and Europe news updates.
Of course,
if you can get a few stories. Yeah, no,
because there's really so much.
But anyway, Elliot, well, I know we're going to speak a lot more soon. Thanks so much. And once again, I think I always want to be transparent with the viewers. I stuffed up the time of the interview. So it was meant to be sort of early evening for you, and everything went wrong. I can't, it's just typical of me. I'm very sorry.
Don't worry about it. No problem.
I promise to be on time next time, but it's really good to talk to you. Very good to catch up with you. Thanks so much.
You too. Thank you. Thanks.